What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Death of the Ager. I am so sorry for being late, you guys. So this ain't gonna be no you can't whoop me edition, but it will definitely be the same energy. Anyway, when y'all get in here, go ahead and like the video, share the video, and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment below what you think throughout the show, your thoughts and opinions on what is going on with Robert Kelly, Mr. R. Kelly. Comment down below. Also, the link to the show is in the comments. So if you want to jump on the show, give your live thoughts and opinions about his sentencing, you could jump on the show and we'll dialogue about it. But if y'all do not know, R. Kelly was sentenced today. R. Kelly was sentenced for 30 years for sex trafficking and racketeering. And I think there were some other charges or whatnot that he was actually sentenced for. Now, this ain't the end of it. He has some other cases that he got to go to trial for that's in, they say, Minnesota and Illinois, I believe. So he's still probably finna tack on some additional years with those cases. So I don't know how that is going to pan out for him. I seen his lawyer give a give a snippet of an interview or whatever with some reporters outside of the courtroom, and she was basically saying that she already knew what was to come. They were pretty much prepared for it. He still claimed his innocence, but they were prepared for it because she said they were looking at trying to give him. She knew that it was going to at least be 25 years. So it was kind of a shocker when he got 30 because she said that she thought that they was going to do 25, but excuse me, they were prepared for it. She did mention that there's going to be an appeal, that they're going to try and appeal the decision and everything. And here's the thing: I think that R. Kelly is guilty. I think R. Kelly should be incarcerated, right? um a lot of people are upset about the fact that they're talking about appealing and everything right now, because I think the mass majority of people pretty much think that he is guilty and should be incarcerated. I got sense enough to know that anybody under any circumstance, right, wrong, or indifferent, if you are accused of something and you have been convicted and there's a chance for you to actually appeal the decision and fight for your freedom, criminals be wanting to run free, right? I can't get mad at them for going through the process of appealing. I can't get mad at that. I don't know why people get upset when somebody try and appeal the decision, even though you know that they're dead wrong. But that's just part of the justice system. Some of the women that said that they were victims, they actually spoke out as well and was saying that they're so glad that he's incarcerated. One lady, she was 45 years old, and she said that she became a victim of R. Kelly's when she was 17 years old, and here it is, she's 45, and they were like, they didn't think that they'll ever see the day where he actually got penalized for what he was allegedly doing to people. So I don't know what to take from that, because the two women that were there, I don't remember seeing them on any of like the documentaries and stuff that was surfacing when he was going through that. I don't remember seeing them or anything, but he allegedly missed over so many different people. So it probably be so many that'll just come up out of the woodworks and just be like, I'm glad that we got some justice, right? That's that. Now, this is what I wanted to get on here and talk about, right? Somebody had said that R. Kelly got 30 years for pushing P, like literally pushing piss, right? And it tickled the hell out of me. But anyway, shout out to Janice. Janice is the one that said that. Shout out to Janice. She the one that said that. And I was like, girl, I'm gonna use this. But anyway, um This is the conversation that is going on surrounding the R. Kelly situation that is resurfacing, unfortunately, that I do not like. We're having this conversation again about, well, if your daughter came to you and told you something happened to you, and if it was a family member, a member of the church, y'all turn a blind eye, y'all don't do nothing to them, and now y'all want to take down R. Kelly. It's unfortunate to those people out there that are saying those types of things. It's unfortunate that we do have this thing in our society, in our culture, mainly as Black people. I don't know what other people do, but I can say for us as Black people, we do have this thing where a lot of times in our community we do protect predators. We just be perfectly honest. Uncle Dean, he be messing with them kids or whatever. So you just tell the kids, hey, tell the girls wear some clothes around the house, or you can't stay around by his house and things like that. You kind of keep a watch on them, but you don't do nothing to them. Unfortunately, that is something that happens in our community. That doesn't make it right, and that doesn't make the people who are actually getting taken down from it, that doesn't make them innocent. They still did something. Uncle Dean should get locked up. And if R. Kelly did that to these people and he's accused of it and got convicted of it, he needs to be locked up. I do not understand why y'all bring up stuff like that, because what's the difference? It's like people want to be able to be savages freely when you say things like that. I don't care what group of people, I don't care what particular person. I don't care what it is. When you're out here harming these innocent kids, I don't care about who you are, how you look, or anything like that. I'm not finna be trying to justify and rationalize BS by talking about this person didn't get locked up, but this person did. All of them should get locked up. You got people, well, when you were 17 years old, 16, 17 years old, y'all girls know that y'all was talking to those old men. Guess what? We did. We sure did. We were 16, 17 years old talking to those old men that's driving up, you walking to school, they driving up, pulling up on you, or whatever the case may be, being a Pied Piper, just like R. Kelly, got some candy in your hand. And when I'm saying candy, I'm just saying it probably something he has to offer. Maybe he got a car, he could drive you to school. Maybe he picking you up from school, y'all skip to school, going to get lunch, or whatever the case may be, buying you a few school clothes and all that old kinds of stuff, So we did do that. We're not the adult. The adult shouldn't be trying to talk to us. Kids gonna do dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? Kids will mess around. Kids probably not even having a concept or anything that is wrong. You have a lot of girls just glad they get a little bit of attention or whatnot. And so the problem is not the girl that ends up dealing with this man. The problem is the fact that this man is seeking out these young girls who are impressionable. Even if they gave some type of resistance, they are impressionable. They are still growing. They are still learning. Their minds are not completely developed. And so they're able to get into these young girls' ear, and they're able to actually manipulate them and being with them, right? So quit trying to blame it on, well, y'all was fast. I don't give a damn how fast the kid is. A grown man shouldn't be looking at it. It ain't no reason for no 30, 20, 30 something year old man to be looking at a 15-year-old fast girl. I don't care how fast she is. Why are you turned on by this fast ass little girl? She's still a kid. The only somebody need to be turned on by her is the people around her age range. It shouldn't be anything to make your dick jump about this little 15-year-old girl. So you a pedophile and you just need to take your charge. Quit trying to, you can't, how you gonna try to young girl as an adult and make it seem like she could make adult decisions, when if she were to do something, a crime or something, she can't even be charged as an adult. Yeah, well, in some cases they can, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, don't go there. She's not grown. She can't make those decisions. It's so bad to where a CO in a prison can get time, and it's illegal for a CO in a prison to even mess with the inmates, because at that point they're considered not being able to give permission. And there'll be grown men in prison, and they're at that point of them being a prisoner, they're not able to give permission. You know what I'm saying? So that's the same thing with the kid. That's the same thing when you're messing with somebody that been drinking or they're under the influence. Technically, they're not able to give permission. So if they were to say, I was drunk and you did this to me, by law, they're not able to give permission. A kid is not able to give permission. You should not be trying to get permission from a kid. What is wrong with you? You have failed in life, because the reason why you guys go after those young girls is because though you could impress the young girls, the women who are your age know that you're not shit. But you impress the young girl because you got a little bit of something. You know what I'm saying? So now you can impress her with just a little bit of anything, because it's more than what the little boys running around the school her age that she should be talking to are than what they have. So which the little bit that you got, it does impress her. But the thing is, you shouldn't be trying to talk to her. That's the thing. And so I hate when people keep bringing this up and try and victim blame. And then I hate that we have to get to this point where we got to keep telling these men out here and some of these women, well, what if it was your daughter? What if it was your sister? What if it was your niece? We shouldn't even be having to do all of that for people just to understand that that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And people are looking at R. Kelly as if he's a victim because the women, a lot of them did willingly deal with him. But again, when it comes to them kids, I ain't talking now them grown women or whatever the case may be. That's a whole nother story. Like, honestly, when it came to those grown women, unless he was actually physically doing something to them or whatever, I can't give him too much for that, because you grown. You get what I'm saying? You willingly go over there or whatever. That's one thing. But these kids, no, we not finna play with that. I don't know the details of these grown folks. They could willingly do something. These kids technically can't willingly do anything. No, maybe he wasn't jumping out the van, snatching them up or whatever the case may be, putting them in a kidnap van. No, he probably wasn't doing that. But all at the same time, you're manipulating them, and you shouldn't be dealing with them. This man had a public marriage that we all knew about to a 15-year-old girl, Aaliyah. Something wrong with you. What you want to marry this little girl for? What is wrong with you? You get what I'm saying? So we know something that's wrong with him. And then even his lawyer, when she got up there, she was talking about, well, they had to break down everything to him because y'all know that he deal with literacy issues. See, he's slow. You know, R. Kelly can't read. And in a sense, I feel bad for R. Kelly. And this is the only reason why I feel bad for R. Kelly. Because the man is genuinely sick. He did not use his celebrity or his resources in order to get him help. He was able to do these crimes in plain eyesight because of his celebrity. He was also a victim of sexual assault when he was little. And his sister, I think it was his sister, was the one that assaulted him sexually when he was little. So he's in a lot of times the victim end up victimizing other people, right? So I feel bad that he had that experience that led to him victimizing other people, right? And nobody around him were able to tell him anything because he's such a star. That's the thing with stardom and this fame and the money that people have. It could be helpful, but it could be a destruction because you get so full of yourself where can't nobody tell you nothing no more. So with R. Kelly, you get to the point, can't nobody tell you nothing. You got these yes men around you. And to be honest, a lot of men feel like things like that are okay. And some people, they don't think much of it because of the fact of the example that I gave when I was talking about people saying, yeah, when y'all was 15, 16, 17 years old, y'all was talking to that older man. So we've done seen it so much to where we don't really hone in on it like we should, but we definitely should. And so he didn't get the help that he needed. Now, this is where I stopped with the feeling sorry for him to an extent, is the fact that after a certain age, what you're doing and how you're doing it, you gotta know that that's wrong. You gotta know that it's wrong to pull your dick out and get the pissing on a 14 or a 15-year-old. Like, come on now, you gotta know that that's wrong. Um, it's too much information out here. It's too much going on. It's too much access to knowledge and information for people to act like they're clueless to what the demons are that they're fighting. I hate when people act like that. You're not clueless to the demons that you're fighting after a certain age. I can see if it was a thing where somebody touched him when he was young, and let's say maybe he was 13, 14, or 15, and his mind still ain't developed or whatever, and he did something to someone, it would be unfortunate, but it will be more understandable where you could have a little bit of leniency for it versus this overgrown man that done lived life long enough to know right from wrong. You knew it was wrong when somebody did it to you. You grew up when once you got old enough, you knew that it was wrong for somebody to do it to you. Whether you sick in the head or not, you knew it was wrong for somebody to do it to you. So if you feel like you have the urge to do something like this to somebody else because of your past experiences, at that point you should go and seek help. And that's where my sympathy for R. Kelly stops. That's where it stops, because you knew better, sir. You was having fun. You was just on a whole bunch of old freaky shit at this point, and was doing a whole bunch of a little bit too much or whatever. And according to some of the conditions that these women say that they were in dealing with him or whatever, that's overboard. The allegations about him beating women and all of that, come on now. You know you wrong. You know you wrong. I can only sympathize with him experiencing something like that and then not actually getting the help when he had the means and he had the resources and he didn't have to go down this road. I really do feel like somebody dropped the ball when it came to that man. Y'all let this man walk around not being able to read, and y'all felt like that was okay because uh, he's a superstar. He's a superstar, so he can't do anything wrong. And a lot of people are so caught up in idolizing these celebrities to where they only care about the fact that he makes good music. And it was so many people making this point about, well, I'm gonna still listen to R. Kelly music. We don't care if you're still gonna listen to R. Kelly music. What's your point of saying it? Okay, we not in your household with you. You want to listen to R. Kelly music? Listen to R. Kelly music. Hell, if I'm listening to the radio, if I'm listening to Pandora, uh, matter of fact, hey, Mr. DJ, come on my Pandora all the time for whatever reason, but I don't skip it. I listen to it. What they got, that ain't, it's on Pandora. I pay for Pandora. I'm not canceling Pandora. And I like the damn song, so I'm gonna listen to the song. But all at the same time, I don't have to make an announcement to make it seem like, well, if what the girls went through, I'm gonna still listen to R. Kelly anyway. That's not the point. Whether you listening to this man or not, that's not the point. The point is he hurt these people, and he has been convicted for hurting these people. That's the point. Not whether you want to listen to his music or not. I think the vast majority of us concur less about who you want to sit up and you want to listen to. R. Kelly is his music, his influence, and everything like that. He's a big part of our upbringing. And I'm gonna tell you another thing that's interesting to me too, where people be trying to do this thing of, oh, we're not gonna listen to his music all of a sudden. What, did you stop listening to his music when he was pissing on people back in the day? When we clearly seen the video of him pissing on this little girl, we didn't stop listening to R. Kelly music then. So it's giving fake outrage. That part is very much fake outrage. And I ain't even trying to entertain it too much, because people pick and choose to do what they want to in their household. You ride around, listen to whatever you want to listen to, bitch. I listen to Metallica, hard metal. Um, I listen to all kinds of music that some people feel like it's beyond this realm, and I shouldn't be listening to it at all because of what type of energy it evokes and everything like that. So whatever, do, as far as that is concerned, that is not even up for debate. So I don't know why people keep bringing it up or just trying to rub it in the face. And it's unfortunate that it's a case like this, so sensitive, that has been going on, where people try and use that and make that a talking point and trying to smear. It's like you're trying to smear it in these people face, in the victim face, to tell them, it's pretty much just you trying to outwardly say, I don't give a fuck about what he did to y'all. That's what it sounds like. And that's unfortunate. We don't need to be making a point whether you're going to listen to his music or not. We don't need to be trying to bring up what other people did in the family and they got away with, to make it seem like R. Kelly should get off on what he did, or he should get less time for what he did because Uncle Dean Uncle Dean didn't get locked up. My thing is this: if the people, unfortunately, a lot of the people in our Black families did not protect the girls. That's unfortunate. You cannot then get mad at the people who decide to speak out and protect themselves, or the people who want to protect the girls that fell victim to R. Kelly. You can't get mad because they went to go seek justice and grandma and them didn't go seek justice for Uncle Dean. You know what I'm saying? The kids that Uncle Dean messed with, right? You can't be using those different scenarios and tying them together and making it seem like one should get off, or just because this went down in the family, that okay, you can't speak on the wrongdoing of R. Kelly. Now, in my family, as far as I know, we didn't have that kind of stuff going on. I don't know nobody in my family that didn't have to deal with like molestation and all this old kind of stuff. I'm glad it ain't been no running story, or this is the one person that messes with kids and you got to feel uncomfortable or anything like that, and people get to touching on you and all that. I'm glad. I've never actually experienced that, so I really don't know how that looks when people cover up, but I have heard about it. You get what I'm saying? So from what I have heard from it, it is those people in that family responsibility to go out and say something. But you got to keep in mind, back in the day, people cared about their family name. It wasn't a thing like I'm just gonna out Dean, Uncle Dean. It was like if we out Uncle Dean, then that messes up our family name because he's part of our family. So a lot of that was trying to protect the family name too. But unfortunately, trying to protect the family name meant that the girls who were impacted, or the boys, because boys get molested too, um, the children, I say, the children in the family were unprotected while you're trying to protect the predator. And like I said, that's unfortunate. But that doesn't mean that R. Kelly should get off. Them people gave him 30 years. He finna do them 30 years. Okay? Now, y'all help me understand this. Because I ain't gonna tell you like I know the law to its fullest extent, because I'd be lying if I said that. I don't know how he got a racketeering charge. Like, how in the hell you get a RICO charge? So they were saying that he was running some type of enterprise. I thought it was just him. He had yes men, but I thought it was him doing the doing. So I don't know how that means that he was actually running an enterprise. If he was running an enterprise and they saw it like that, why is he the only one going down? I think it need to be some parents. I think it needs to be a couple of managers, some other employees. I think it needs to be some road guys, some promoters, all that. Probably some backup dancers. You hear me? All of them need to be going to jail too. Anybody that was associated with that man that had anything to do with something that had some type of knowledge or whatever, they need to be tried too. So I don't know how it is. He needs to go down, but I don't know how it is if they talking about it's racketeering and this is a RICO. If that's the case, why is he the only one going down? Shouldn't somebody else be going down with him if it was an enterprise? Because isn't RICO charges like more so a organized crime? I don't see people just one person go down for a RICO charge. Now whether he had all these people um working with him, like actually knowing what he's doing or not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that part, but I'm sure they had to be aware. Now, his brother actually came out and said that in so many words, he lied on R. Kelly. His brother came out and said that he was just parroting what the people were already saying, but he just really didn't know. He had got into it with R. Kelly, they weren't in no good place or whatever. So he was just saying what the people were saying. So I'm thinking that maybe what he had going on was so wrapped tight that the people probably closest to him probably couldn't all the way figure out what he had going on. And probably that is maybe the reason why. I don't know. But that racketeering part, it tripped me out because I was just like, what's the enterprise and who are the other players? There need to be some other people locked up. I just felt the whole time it need to be some other people locked up. So I'm trying to use the racketeering thing to get some of these other people off the street. They need to be locked up right along with him. That don't mean he shouldn't get no time. He should get all the time. He did that to these people. However, you can't hit this man with no RICO charge and then he's the only one being charged. I don't see how that works. I really don't see how that works. And that kind of scares me a little bit. The reason why it scared me because you sit up here hitting these people with these charges that isn't right. Mess around and it be some type of technicality or whatever, and it be some type of loophole for them to get out of it. How Bill Cosby end up being able to get off on his charges or whatever. So you got to be real careful on how you do that. He mess around and get the right lawyer and try and figure out that this wasn't right. And then next thing you know, the man out on the street snatching up kids all over again because he ain't getting the proper help. So I don't know how that works, but they need to figure that out fast because the attorney had already said they finna appeal. So I'm pretty sure in the appeal, she's going to put something in there trying to overturn it because of this RICO charge. Because I don't see how this RICO charge. Anyway, that's neither here nor there though. But hopefully we could just put this to bed, quit arguing with each other, quit going back and forth about whether he's right, wrong, or whatever. He went to trial. The man got his time. We got to stop being insensitive and making it seem like the people that's on the end where they're sitting up here talking about, well, the girls was 15 and 16 years old trying to talk to R. Kelly or whatever. All of that, we got to put all of that to bed. We just really have to stop that the viciousness, because it's not helping anything. And maybe the people who feel like he's right look at the people who feel like he's wrong crazy, and vice versa. It is what it is. But he had his day in court, and them people say he guilty, and he done got locked up for pushing P, like literally pushing P, pushing piss. um Black Socrates is on here. What's up, Black Socrates? Hello, Black Socrates. Did you want to say something?
Can you
Did
hear
you
me?
want to say something? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Am I double talking or?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I was just wanted to clarify. I just happened to see you mention. I just wanted to clarify. Racketeering and RICO are not the same, and racketeering can't be a one-person charge. Just so you know, it's just
Oh,
yeah, it's
so
just basically.
racketeering is not a racketeering and RICO is like two separate things. You a racketeering charge and a RICO charge is separate. Is that what you're saying? You cutting out. Well, anyway, I guess he said that a racketeering charge and a RICO charge are separate. Now he finna. I thought it was the same thing. Now I'm about to pull out my handy dandy Google and see. Black Socrates, are you still there?
I'm here, but I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you now.
Yeah. I was gonna read it to you, but yeah. So racketeering existed before RICO existed. RICO is again is very specific to a criminal enterprise, if you will. But racketeering itself just simply means
But the thing is, he keeps cutting out. But the thing is, with the racketeering, don't you have to be part of an actual enterprise for a racketeering charge? Or they could just hit you single handedly with a racketeering charge. How can you be a part of an enterprise and it's only one person? I don't understand that part. If a racketeering charge is because of an enterprise and it's only one person that is getting taken down, how is it an enterprise without other people? That I think that's the part that I don't understand. And the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, RICO, of 1970 seeks to strengthen the legal tools. So the racketeering is the R in the RICO.
so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so RICO, just like I said, when it says strengthen, they created this big umbrella. But racketeering itself, you can be hit with that singly. So racketeering existed before RICO. So what they did with RICO was they did it to create a way to get you via conspiracy. But racketeering itself existed well before the RICO existed. But you're right, the RICO is in. So that's why you think they're the same thing. But racketeering is a charge in itself. They added the ICO to go after the mob, and now they use it to go after gangs. But racketeering existed,
Okay.
yeah, well before. So that's why I was saying that's why he has a racketeering charge single handedly because he got charged with the original definition of racketeering, which is just simply
Cause like racketeering, okay, so I get what you're saying, because with racketeering itself, it could just be like bribing somebody or something like that could be considered
so
racketeering.
racketeering. Let me give it. Yeah, it's not robbing. It's just basically.
I didn't say robbing, I said bribing.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. Just basically with threat, like getting money by threat or force is considered racketeering. So if you bribe somebody or you basically do it and they find out you influence them with that's an individual racketeering charge.
So the only way they would have been able to get him with racketeering is the bribery part then. But the thing is, so with racketeering, so you're saying it doesn't have to be an enterprise for
No, it doesn't.
racketeering, but for it to be considered a RICO, it has to be an enterprise.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
RICO is specifically a criminal enterprise. That's what RICO is made for, a criminal enterprise, the mob. But racketeering individually, people used to go to jail for racketeering prior to RICO existing.
Yeah, because RICO now, when the RICO charge is like now with the racketeering and everything, basically at first you were only being able to catch the little guy, but with the
Right.
RICO charge, you able to catch the big guy now. You able to get the
Exactly.
big fish.
Exactly. So if you put me out to go get money, like you put me out, I used to be only the one to get the racketeering because I made this person fearful. Now with Rico, they can say, well, the idea came from Deasia, so now they get you instead of me.
Mm, okay. What's up with you going after new goals? Thanks for jumping on here and tuning in with us tonight. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. That make it make sense. So really in his particular case, unfortunately, because of the actual definition of racketeering, and he fall under one of those definitions for what he did, his attorney probably be wasting a whole lot of time trying to appeal that because of it being because of her feeling like it shouldn't be racketeering. Now, that leads me to this too. If the attorney, because the attorney was actually saying that she was going to try and appeal it because of the racketeering, it sounds like to me his attorney really don't know the law then.
Well, no, what
So what
happens
even
is
say
what
that?
happens. Let me throw this out. So what happens is she's probably making the argument that he didn't influence because it's specifically chalk. So she's making an argument that she feels like the state did not prove that money exchanged hands based on a threat directly from him. So she's arguing that they haven't proved that. And so that's probably why she's saying she wants to appeal it on the strength of it was never racketeering. It wasn't them saying, so just lose the criminal enterprise part out. She's just disagreeing with them with that charge, saying she feels like they didn't prove that his influence did whatever they're saying it did.
But he didn't have his chart. What about his case had anything to do with money though? Does racketeering necessarily have to do with money itself? Because now it must be a whole lot of other stuff that he had going on that we're not privy to. Because his his cases was about sexual assault. But um they did, but it has to be more to it for them to be saying the racketeering or whatever. I we don't know what Mr. R. Kelly had going on.
Let me explain. So what happens is you got to
Mhm.
remember. So what happens is they got into the deep seated case of where money was given to the parents, who was involved, who received money at one point to not
Oh,
charges. So all that's they going after all of that.
okay, okay,
So,
that
so
makes
I,
sense.
I don't know what was proven because I haven't read the case. You can go pull it up if you want it. If you wanted to, you can go see what's public record. But I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure it's coming from all the influence along the way. Because at one point, he had just, in a sense, if I remember, he thought at one point they were gonna, in a sense, beat just the assault thing just based on their ages. But then when they started going, like one thing that really got him into trouble, which was stupid, he still had like porn. Like, you know what I mean? Like from young children. So that's like a dead to right giveaway.
But you know what? I think they finna try him on that. I think that's what he got coming up next, where they finna
I
try
got you.
him on
Got
the pornography
you. Got
and stuff like that. Cause
you.
he's still finna get tried in
Four cases.
Minnesota
Hmm.
and I think Illinois too.
Hmm. So right now, she's probably saying they did not prove the racketeering, so she's fighting it. because
Mm.
because now you got to get into was this person's money out of fear or did they make this decision because this person that's not easy to prove, but you know what I mean. But it's like I said, if you were my mob boss and sending me out to influence or whatever, it's kind of hard to prove. But so that's probably why she's fighting it. She probably feels like they didn't prove it.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. That make a whole lot of sense. Thank you so much for coming on here and clearing it up because, baby, I did not know. I'm just sitting up here trying scratching my head, trying to figure out all of this because I ain't gonna even try to make it seem like I'm just fully aware of the law to its fully extent because I'm not. But I know a little bit. What I'm saying when it comes up. So there was something that was really puzzling me. So I appreciate you so much for coming on here and clearing it up. Do you have any thoughts and opinions about the whole R. Kelly case? Where do you sit with this? Do you feel like the 30 years was excessive, or do you feel like it wasn't it ain't even enough years?
Yeah, I'm more of it ain't enough. I pretty much have left the R. Kelly situation alone most of my time messing around on social media. I did a couple shows on it, But I struggle even way back when, like, just to even highlight so you know exactly where I'm at. I never even understood the intrigue of watching the P thing because I have a real issue with any harm coming to young people or even looking at young girls in that manner. So I remember one time I used to have a studio, and some of the guys in the studio were watching it, and it was like, "Come here." I was like, "I don't even want to watch it. Like, I don't even want to see a young girl be in his presence." And so I never understood the continued support, even from that point, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something that trips me out, and I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. But I'm gonna tell you something that trips me out is when this stuff was first coming up and people were making a talking point about, well, y'all girls, y'all was fast, y'all was 15, 16 years old, y'all was talking to those older men. Yeah, we were talking to those older men, like I said earlier. The thing is the older men shouldn't have been trying to talk to us. It doesn't matter
Period.
how fast a fucking 15-year-old lives. Why are you attracted to a fast ass 15-year-old?
Yeah. Period.
A
Yeah.
15-year-old shouldn't, it ain't nothing about a 15-year-old that should turn you on. It don't matter how fast she is. It don't matter if you saw her walking around and she was butt booty ass naked. You shouldn't be, that's a kid. So why are you turned on? Why are you riding around close to the schools, these girls walking to school, and you try and pick up these young girls? It happens to me all the time. Me and you, we've had conversations of, honestly, I didn't even really date guys that was in school that was my age. The only time I had a boyfriend that was my age was like when I was 15 years old, when I started being able to have a boyfriend or whatever. But when I was 15 years old, I only had one boyfriend my whole life that was my age. I didn't have boyfriends that was my age in high school. Now, were my parents aware of that? No. You know what I'm saying? But guys my age weren't even trying to holler at me. So I was that girl that was talking to dudes that, what I'm saying, they pulled up on me. I'm walking to school, something like that. And it wasn't even necessarily of being fast. It was just more so of,
The attention.
okay, that's the guy who approached me. It
Right.
wasn't
So
me being
that's
fast. I'm walking to school with my books.
well. I
You know
don't.
what I'm saying?
Well.
And it just so happens these guys, these are the ones approaching me. The guys at my school, they weren't trying to talk to me. So that's
Yeah.
who I talked to. I wasn't being fast. I was more so tomboyish than anything. So I
Well,
wasn't even being
the
fast.
unfortunate reality is that just comes from some cultural stuff, unfortunately, in the past. Now, here's the reality. 100 years ago, it wasn't always uncommon for, in a sense, a 20-year-old to marry a 15-year-old or 16-year-old or whatever. And that's just, and I'm being on the low end or whatever. But the
That's true.
problem, is that I'm pretty sure there's even, there's 22 and 23. So it even gets farther, and that looks ridiculous, and we're definitely less accepting. But the unfortunate part is it just comes from the history of how women were put up out with this virtual thing, and we would make the mistake of accusing the daughter. So it's silly. I mean, the girl. So it becomes silly that people today could still even say something as silly as that, when the only problem, like you said, is a grown man is an issue because he's a grown man. She is not. They don't. I don't
Right.
care if she's being fast, like you said, but that just comes from some bad cultural shit that some people can even still say that. I don't think we hear that being fast stuff as much as we used to, but it's pretty shameful that that your generation and above was raised with that very heavily.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. And I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like, oh, somebody did something to me. It was never anything. uh I'm not going to try and paint that picture like, oh, I was harmed or anything like that or whatever the case. But the act in itself is harmful, because it's still a predatory state that person is in for them to be approaching. And so, yeah, a girl that's in that situation, she's not looking at it as this is bad, because you get this older guy, he got some money, he doing stuff for you, buying your stuff or whatever.
Right.
So you're not, as the girl in that situation, no, you're not looking at it as, you're not seeing yourself as a victim. You don't know that you're not realizing that you're a victim a lot of times, unless it's done in a harmful way, or you just really got
Well,
snatched up or
well, that's
something
why
like that.
statutory rape exists, right? Because it's not. It's the situation where just the age alone creates the issue because they don't expect the young person, to be aware of the harm. So that's exactly why statutory rape exists. For example,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
For that
yeah.
reason, because they could even agree to it, but they're just saying, "Hey, you're older, taking advantage of this young person."
Right. And so going after New Gold said, men are attracted to young women no matter what the man's age. And it studies to prove no matter what age a man is, he's attracted to 21 and 22-year-old women. It's biological and nothing more. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, I don't see anything. It might seem disgusting or whatever. I know that men are attracted to youth, right? But not in this sense of it's an actual kid. My thing is, you're talking about a 21-year-old woman and a 22-year-old woman. She's a woman at the end of the day. Now you might have this 50-some-year-old man that's looking at this 22-year-old woman, and we might say, oh, he too old. He shouldn't be trying to talk to this woman, what they have in common. But at the end of the day, she grown. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference between this old man looking at 14 and 15-year-old children versus this old man that old enough to be her granddaddy looking at her, but she's 21 or 22 years old. Yeah, it may seem sick, but can't nobody do nothing to him about it. It ain't nothing wrong with that. You get what I'm saying? A kid, that's what we're talking about when it's a kid. Yeah, I definitely understand that, men are attracted to youth in a sense, but that doesn't mean that grown men with healthy minds are attracted to kids and they know that's a child. I can say that there are cases where it happen where a girl can carry herself a certain way or be doing certain things, and girls be developing fast or whatever for whatever they put in there, where it can be cases where girls can look a certain age and lie or something like that about it. Or he could be like, oh, you know what, he probably looked at her, and then once he find out she's that young, oh, you supposed to leave that alone. So things like that can actually happen. So I'm not going to make it seem like I don't live in the real world and I don't understand that part of it. But if you know this person is under age 15, 16 years old, you have no business looking at them in a sexual manner. Now, you can, if you knowing, hey, you could, it's nothing wrong with knowing that someone is beautiful. Regardless, it's nothing wrong of knowing, oh, that's a beautiful little girl. You shouldn't be like, oh, that's a beautiful little girl, I'm sexually attracted to her. No, it shouldn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that is sick to me. And going after new goals also said, right, I just brought that up because I hear a lot of women saying men who date younger women are chumos and all this wild stuff. But if they're legal age, I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem either in that case. If they're legal age, it might seem sick, but I mean, she grown. She grown. And the difference is she's 21, 22 years old. So at that point, she is able to give permission. A kid is not able to give permission. So she's able to give permission, and that's what she want to give permission to. That's fine. That's the same reason why I said, if you were on here earlier, I even mentioned in the R. Kelly situation, as far as those grown women that was messing with R. Kelly, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I can't speak on that. As long as he wasn't like physically doing anything to them or whatever, where harming them or hurting them or whatever, where they was in hostage type of situations where they couldn't leave. I can't really do too much about or speak too much about these grown women that's able to give permission and consent to this relationship with him, however the dynamic of their relationship might be. If you consented to it, you a grown woman, able mind, sane adult, and you willingly walked into that situation, I can't give you too much. But these children, these underage girls, that's a whole totally different scenario because they technically cannot give consent. So
Let me add
that's
this,
the
if you don't mind.
problem I have.
Yeah, let me add this if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's to be specific, because if you remember, it was a long time before R. Kelly actually had to go to jail or was charged. So here's the actual details, because people are usually inaccurate about this. So what happened was, so for the most part, after he gets away with the Aaliyah thing and then beats that case with the the peeing on the girl thing years ago. So once he beats that, so what happened this time? A lot of times why he wasn't getting charged is because it ain't even 21. 18 is the age of consent, and so so because of his issue, he would and like I don't know if you remember that interview. He would clearly date 18 and 19-year-olds because it was technically legal. Obviously, he has his issue. What ended up happening before they found the porn tape, which, like you said, is a whole nother case. What ended up happening, those two girls that kind of became famous, the parents was kind of saying no. This started prior to them being 18. So the parents were saying it, and they finally got the girls to admit it. That's when they finally charged him. So a lot of times prior to them girls admitting it, we were saying he was acting in a pedophile way, and the reality was he was trying to, so he wouldn't be open until they were 18. But they were able to find out he actually started the relationship at least with one of them. I don't know if both, but at least one of them prior to 18. So
So
that's how he
basically, he
was
was
getting.
grooming them.
But what it was, because he admitted having a relationship with him prior, but they would all have his back and never admit to he actually had sex with them before 18. And so he was staying float every time we kept looking at him like, how's he not going to jail? Because at the time they had no proof of him dealing with someone under 18. Because that's kind of what became his, from what I understand in the industry, that became his MO after that big case. It scared him from dating under 18. But with one of them girls, I think they broke down and found out she admitted prior to 18, and now they were able to get him. And while they were getting him for this, they ended up finding a porn, which was enough in itself to get him locked up. So for years, we kept saying pedophile, and he really was at most statutory rape. But I'm just saying just a distinction that we usually fail to make.
Or is if he wasn't having sex with them, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be statutory rape, would it?
Yeah, it's
Would
statutory.
it?
As long as once it's under 18, that's statutory rape.
But if you're not having sex with them, it's still considered statutory rape.
No, I'm not being clear. So what happened? I said he was able to stay out because they didn't have proof of that. It wasn't until one of the girls break down and said prior to 18 that's when they came and got him. So he was
Okay,
able to stay out.
so he was prior to 18, he
That's what
was sleeping with the girls, but it wasn't made public that he had any type of relationship with the girls until they turned 18.
right. And
Okay,
so he was
okay.
able to get away with it for so long. Like even when he had the girls, everybody's kind of like, why they not locking them up? Because they would never admit. The parents were suggesting that it was before 18. He admitted knowing them prior to 18, but they would always, he had kind of mind control over them. So they would always say, no, we never had sex before 18. So that's why he was willing to go do interviews, because the only thing that was being put out was they were at the age of consent. So the police could never go after him. It wasn't until one of them, at least one of them, I don't know if both did, but it wasn't until one admitted that it was prior to, because the parents were saying they're lying, that the girls are lying because they loved them, so they would never admit to it. So the police can't go off the parents' hearsay, so they had to wait till one of the girls admitted it happened prior to 18. That's when they finally went and got him.
Yeah, and I think it was that girl, if I'm not mistaken, because I didn't follow the case so close, but I think it was the thing where the parents in one of the situations, I think the girl she was about 19 years old at this point, and the parents were worried they hadn't been hearing from her and anything like that, and that raised some concern. I think that was one of the cases that ended up bringing all of this stuff to the forefront because of those parents coming out, saying that they were concerned. And then it was two of the girls that ended up being two of that was on the forefront of it. I think it was a girl named Clario, or I don't know what the girl name was, but ended up being on the forefront of it where it all came to a head.
Right.
And
So
I wonder, I think I don't I think that it was just the parents that actually made it an issue this time because I don't think the girls didn't come out first. It was them
Yeah, it was
parents
parents.
that
And what
said,
happened was, what
yeah,
happened was the parents were saying he has control of them. We can't get our kids. But it wasn't that easy because now they're older by the time it was becoming famous. And then the bad history was that there was history where that there's history that the parents pushed them because they wanted their kids to be in the industry. They pushed them to R. Kelly prior. And so that's where that history was, where they were only my proteges during this period. We never got intimate. So as long as he could keep that story straight, he was happy to do interviews. Because here's the reality: even the Aaliyah situation is a statutory rape situation based on
mm-hmm,
legal. So 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 again, I'm just calling it legally, calling it correct. So we've always kind of said it in a way, and the reality is, he's you know we just knew of Aaliyah and the situations. However the hell he got away with that video shit is bullshit. But all those situations have been statutory rape. These people they're just not old enough to consent because clearly, even the people he's dealt with, they all consented personally, but legally they could not.
yeah. I mean, that's unfortunate. I'm glad that he had his day in court. I'm glad that the people who were victimized, they're getting justice. I was a little scared about that racketeering thing. I thank you so much for coming on here and educating me about that because I was a little scared because I was like, hold on now. They might find some type of loophole or something, little technicality like they did for Bill Cosby. The man be back out on the street. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that I mentioned too when you were on here, I actually I just think it's unfortunate that R. Kelly he was a victim himself, and so with
That's
his
pretty normal.
stardom, his money, and everything, and
That's
not getting
normal.
that actual help,
Yep.
you know, not getting that help or whatever, it's just so unfortunate because you could think about like, dang, as a kid he was violated, and he didn't get the proper help. And my thing was with that, and I'm kind of repeating myself, is at some point, at some age, what happened to you was wrong, and what you're doing to somebody else is wrong. And if you got the money, the means, and the resources in order to go get you some help or whatever, you go get you some help. You didn't go get no help because you were enjoying what it is that you were doing. So that part right there, that's where my sympathy for him starts and stops. Because he knew what he was doing, he knew it was wrong, and he had the means and the resources to go and actually get him some proper help. And it's unfortunate. I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes I feel like people need to go ahead and get their ass locked up the first time when they do something, and it's not always good when people be getting off on these types of crimes. Because what happens is when people do something, I learned this a long time ago because I never tell people how I found them in something that I think I come to them and tell them they did. Because if a person is stronghold and they like, I'm gonna do this and this is what I want to do, they're not gonna stop doing what it is they want to do. They just gonna find a better way to do it. They just gonna get smarter. So with him getting caught that first time and him getting off, it's not gonna stop him from being a predator. It's just gonna make him a smarter predator. So now he's like, oh, I'ma still do this, but now hold on, I'm gonna do it like this. And so now it get worse and worse. And then you think that that person start thinking that they're untouchable and they got the game on lock, and they ain't gonna be able to figure it out because it's like I'm somewhat playing by these rules that are implemented. And so you create a bigger monster. It's like the more and more people get to getting away with what they're doing, the more and more crimes that they actually commit. They don't stop. You know what I'm saying? They don't stop. So sometimes it's just best to that first go around to go ahead and stick it to them or whatever. If they're not gonna get you're not gonna get these people the proper help, which I don't know in a case like that if there's any alternative to it where they it,
I'll let you finish, but I was gonna share that unfortunately, when it comes to the psychology of sexual predator, like what you're saying typically applies to a lot of crimes, and I've seen it happen to youth where they got slapped on the wrist and it made them further get into crime. Unfortunately, the psychology of most sexual predators, because it becomes a psychological sexual attraction. It almost don't matter first or last time. Like even the people that end up getting out and doing okay, they literally have to live away from children and they have to just make a concerted effort because psychologically their attraction is their attraction. So unfortunately for sexual predator, first, second, or third time doesn't make the difference like it would for a lot of other crimes.
Okay, because it's kind of it's almost a
Just once the
sexuality for
attraction,
them.
yeah, once the attraction is there, like like for him it probably developed from his own trauma, you feel me, of having it done to him. So then your attractions, you're too young to understand your hormones and attractions, so now your attractions can go in places they may not have went had you not been traumatized. But once he has those attractions, so like I said, when he almost got caught for the 14-year-old, his mo became, I only date 18 and 19-year-olds. Because and
Yeah.
again, what I'm saying, so they can't even help themselves. And there's even been predators who have voluntarily asked for their penis to be cut off because they can't help themselves.
And you know what is so crazy and so unfortunate about this is that when you think about it and based on what you're saying, and it definitely makes sense, um, and it's scary to think of, but from how it sounds, it's almost like pedophilia is a part of sexuality.
It can be once you've been distorted. I obviously can't speak to how it originally have started or whatever, but if you study any of it, unfortunately, about 80% had it done to them. So most of them are really just repeating an unfortunate cycle or trauma that they went through.
Yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things where you know how sometimes when people they never thought about same sex relationships or whatever, and then
Right,
something that happened to
right,
them, and not we're not finna even say
right. I understand what you mean.
everybody gay is because something happened to them because
Right,
it's
right,
not
right.
the case. But a lot of times that is the case. You know what I'm saying? And
Definitely.
so it becomes a fabric of their being and end up becoming their actual sexuality.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
what's unfortunate is that something that is so harmful like pedophilia or whatever
Right.
becoming it, and that's the reason why I have a problem with certain things that be getting overturned, is because in a minute I feel like that P is gonna get they gonna try and figure out
Oh,
some
it's
type of
next
way to
up. They
put
already
that
started.
P and part of them alphabets.
Oh no, the TED Talks have already started. 8 to 10 years ago, they've already had TED Talks. I've always said they were going to exchange the argument for the pedophilia. I've been saying that for over a decade, and I've seen at least 2 TED Talks where it exists. And like I said, I like to be, again, I'm just real, I'm technical. So we say pet, like we're mentioning that word pedophilia. Just for R. Kelly's sake, it's still wrong. I'm glad he's locked up. I told you that, but we don't even know him for pedophilia. Statutory rape is very different than pedophilia. Is like we don't know that he wants sex with kids. You
Well,
know,
he had sex with a girl that he was peeing on.
right?
That was a kid.
She's for. Yeah, they that's why it's called statutory rape and not pedophilia because it's
That
still
is pedophilia, though.
no. The pedophilia is basically sex with undeveloped children completely, like kids. Like you really wanted sex with big like babies, kids. Statutory rape, like you said, is just not able to give consent. Like because you're
Well,
old
I'm
enough
gonna
to
have
have.
to look. I'm gonna have to look into that because to me, it's
Yeah, I
all the
understand to you,
same.
but I'm just talking about because what happened is you got, once you reach, whatever puberty, you can have and want sex. And as long as you have and want sex with people your age, that's not a problem. Kids ain't wanting sex like that. Like you're before puberty. That's pedophilia.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the definition of
Okay. Well,
because he
either way it go, you know what I'm saying?
still sexual predator though.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we ain't trying to push no P. We ain't trying to push no P. We ain't trying to push this piss that R. Kelly was pushing, and we ain't trying to push no pedophilia into the alphabets. They need to go on with that. And
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming already.
my
Unfortunately.
thing is that they need to go on with that. And it's that right there. When I'm gonna tell you something, I'm gonna tell you another thing that I have a problem with, that we live in society where we try and accept any and everything, and we won't call certain things a mental illness that is clearly a mental illness.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? I want to thank y'all so much for joining me tonight for another episode of the Death of the Asia. If you like this video, be sure to Drop down in the comments, tell me what you think about it. Make sure you hit the like button, turn on the notification bell so you do not miss my shows, and make sure you subscribe. And sure, I probably said that already, but anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. I'm about to tune out. Y'all have a good one.
I hope you black men were paying attention. I hope you black men were paying attention.